चलिए आज मैं आपको हमारे साथ सिटी क्रूज़ की सफ़र कराती हूँ। और अगर आप ये चाहते हैं कि मैं जब भी कोई वीडियो अपलोड करूँ और आपको उसके बारे में पता चल जाए, तो चैनल के बेल आइकॉन पे क्लिक करिए ताकि आपको नोटिफिकेशन मिलती रहे।
Welcome aboard. Stairs on the other side to go up, folks.
Thank you.
Mind your step.
Thank you.
That was an overwhelming response. You hear me okay at the back? Awesome. Downstairs, can you hear me okay? Give us a wave, I'll see you on the cameras. Welcome on board the City Gamma for your cruise today. Quick safety announcement as we do depart the pier. Nothing to alarm any of you, just simply to make you a bit more familiar with this boat you're travelling on today. We are fully licensed by the Maritime Coast Guard Agency and the Port of London Authority to carry up to 300 by the International Green and Cream stickers. We are in constant communication with all of the other boats, the emergency services around us in the highly unlikely event of an emergency today. Just stay calm, please stay seated, follow the instructions given by a uniformed member of crew. Now, by a show of hands, and again I can see you downstairs on the cameras, who understood or who cared about a word that I just said? That's 6 people. Downstairs, 3 people listening now. On the way down to our next stop, Tower Pier, and we do have 2 options. Option 1, the company, and they provide us with a pre-recorded commentary system. You would have heard it from Westminster Pier across to the London Eye, and that will point out some of London's sights. Or option 2, an old tradition here on the Thames. As a member of crew on board, I can share this experience with you. I can provide a live commentary myself. So again, by a show of hands, would anybody like option number 1, the pre-recorded commentary system? Just the captain. I don't think he likes listening to me. Would anybody like option number 2, the live commentary? Couple of people. Alright, well I'll try my best. You will soon work out. You can probably tell already that I'm not a professional tour guide. Okay, I'm not trained as a tour guide. I'm not paid as a tour guide. I'm the mate on board. I assist my friend here, the captain, driving the boat to get you safely up and down the Thames. So if I do get anything wrong, feel free to keep it to yourself. Alright, but I'm going to try my best. Now the captain will turn the boat around here to the left. Big Ben, that's a nickname for the 13.5-ton bell inside the Queen Elizabeth clock tower. It chimes on the hour and on the hour only. However, you can see having some maintenance works done, so it'll only chime on special occasions until next year. Now as the captain does turn the boat around, ahead of us you'll see the former London Mayor's Office, County Hall. It was the London Mayor's Office right up until the early 1960s. Now home to more important things, a Shrek's Adventure, the London Dungeons and an aquarium. As we do turn the boat around, you will get a nice photo opportunity on the open top deck of one of London's most popular tourist attractions. That is the London Eye. Put here in the millennium year of 2000. It was only meant to be a temporary structure. However, it was said on the first day of opening, and on a busy summer's day, the London Eye, it can make up to £250,000 a day. So very profitable indeed. It's 400 at lastminute.com. Now the London Eye, as you can see, it is currently closed. At the beginning of each year, for 2 weeks, and they close the London Eye for maintenance works. We make our way down the Thames now. Journey time around about 20 minutes, half an hour to our next stop, Tower View. On the left hand side of the boat, just behind the trees here, you will see a castle on the land. That's the Whitehall Court Mansions, home to the MI5 during World War I and Winston Churchill's offices during World War II. Now a 5-star hotel, the Royal Horse Guard Hotel. Behind this building every day, they do the changing of the Queen's Guards. The soldiers, the horses, they come out to play. A free service we'd highly recommend, especially for the children. And we pass underneath next, the Charing Cross Railway Station. Now the architect who designed this station over there on the left hand side, designed it to look like a train coming out of a platform. So if you turn your head to the left and you squint your eyes a little bit, you'll see it looks nothing like a train coming out of a platform. I've got a few of you on that one, but it's a very busy route in and out of the city, and not only are we going underneath a train line, it will also be on top of one. Now give the people on top of the bridge a wave as we do pass underneath, and my friend the captain, he'll wake the bridge up for you. Give them a wave up there. Generally people do wave back. There we go. Give them a wave, folks, as we do pass underneath. Not only are we going underneath a train line, it will also be on top of one. The overground, it runs above us. The Northern and Bakerloo line directly underneath. Give them a wave up there, folks. Just keep waving, stop some throwing things at us. We'll try again on the other side of the bridge. Hopefully there's more people on this side of the bridge. Hopefully they're happy to see us. Give them a wave up there, folks. If they don't wave back, they're just Londoners, very miserable people. Londoners are. Let's keep waving. Now as we clear the bridge, on the right hand side of the boat, within the South Bank Centre, the Royal Festival Hall, put here to celebrate the Festival of Britain in 1951. Many famous people have performed here. Frank Sinatra, Whitney Houston, Pavarotti, Amy Winehouse, the list, it does go on. You can actually walk all the way down the South Bank of the Thames, here on the right, from where we picked you up to where we're going to drop you off. On a nice day like today, there's bars, restaurants, live entertainment to see on the South Bank of the Thames. To the left hand side of the boat, the building with the green roof, the Union flag on top, that's one of the most famous hotels in the world, the 5-star Savoy Hotel. It will cost you around £1,000 a night to stay at the Savoy Hotel. If you stay there New Year's Eve, it will cost you up to £20,000 a room. Now it's worth every penny, folks. It is worth every penny, because it comes with a full complimentary English breakfast. Worth every penny, worth it to me. We all love English breakfast. Ahead of us, we pass underneath next the Waterloo Road Bridge, also known as the Ladies' Bridge. It was built by a predominantly female workforce during the Second World War. While the men were away fighting, the ladies, they did what you do best. They went out shopping and bought the most expensive stone, a Portland stone. You'll see how clean the face of the bridge is here. Portland stone, it has self-cleaning or self-cleansing properties. So when it rains here in London, which is not very often, the rain, it will wash away the dirt on the side of the bridge. Buckingham Palace, which I know some of you have been to see this morning, and St Paul's Cathedral, Tower Bridge, which you'll see shortly, also built out of this self-cleaning Portland stone. So well done to the ladies. And to the left-hand side of the boat, and you'll see our lifeboat station here on the Thames. The busiest lifeboat station in the whole of the UK. Over 650 call-outs last year alone. That's averaging 2 call-outs a day here on the River Thames. Behind the lifeboat pier you see a building with a round green roof. That's Somerset House. Used to hold all the information regarding births, marriages and deaths. Now a listed building, and they can't knock it down so they host many popular events inside, such as the London Fashion Week. You'll see one of the most famous boats out here on the Thames, also coming up on the left, and that's the black and white St Catherine. It's got the black canopy on the top. That's the former Queen's Royal Barge. Right up until the early 1960s, any meetings that needed to be conducted, it had been done out here on the Thames, on the St Catherine you see on the left hand side. Now a permanent restaurant at Temple Pier. If you look behind the St Catherine on the left, and look just below the pathway there, along the river wall, you'll notice rows of green metal lions' heads. Now these lions, they're an early flood warning sign. They say if the water rises to the level of the lion's mouths, the river, it might overflow its banks. And there's an old saying to help you remember this. See if you can finish it with sinking. If it's up to the lion's manes, we will go down the drains. And if the lions are well and truly ducked, then London is well and truly flooded. We're now leaving the city of Westminster and we enter the city of London. Temple Arch, just on the left hand side here to the back of the ship, that's the boundary point between the two. You see our sister boat going past there at the city outlet. And to the right hand side of the boat, and the white building that you see there, giving a wave as we go past, and that's the Itv News Studio. You might find yourself live on the news. Now hopefully you're not with someone you're not meant to be with, but just keep waving, I'm sure you'll blend in. Now you can see it doesn't say Itv News Studios anywhere, because here on the Thames there's no commercial advertising. You cannot display your company's logo here on the banks of the Thames. However, the building next to that on the right, it came up with a very ingenious way to do it. The red brick building, take a look at the windows at the top, engraved the letters OXO, the OXO Tower. It was looked after by the Vestry family, who created the OXO gravy granule cube. Now a 5-star restaurant at the top, and luxury unaffordable housing in the middle, very expensive indeed. Now to the left hand side of the boat here, you'll see a construction site here on the Thames, and that's the Tideway Tunnel development project. As the population in London has grown from 1 to nearly 10 million people, we've needed a new sewer system. It's a £5 billion project, created thousands of new jobs out here on the Thames. Now the sewer system, it will sit just next to the current one. When that fills up, it will spill out into the new one, the Tideway Tunnel development project. Now the project of the boat, birds on top of the columns. Now at certain states of tide, this boat, it will not fit underneath this bridge, and that shows you just how high the tide it can rise here on the Thames. It can rise up to nearly 8 meters above. They say if you kiss the one you love as you pass through the bridges, it will bring you 7 years of happiness. Hold your horses, folks. We haven't gone through yet at the back there. All right, hold your horses. 7 years of good luck as you pass through the bridges here. Now, if you're not with the one you you'll see where the former Alexander Bridge used to stand, the red brick columns either side of the boat, and they still remain today. One of them been used to construct the new railway station. Now that marks about halfway through our trip down to our next stop at Tower Pier. Can I check, is everybody enjoying the live commentary so far? That's St Paul's Cathedral. Completed in 7 cost you about £15 to £20 to go inside the cathedral. However, a little tip for you, if you go there on a Sunday, you go there today, and you can join one of the services. Now, do we have any modern art fans on board today? Any modern art fans? A couple of people. Now, if you look to the right hand side of the boat on the south bank of the Thames, you will see the former Bankside Power Station. The chimney still remains today, and that's now home to the Tate Modern. the most visited modern art gallery in the world. Over 5 million people a year, they visit the Tate. For the youngsters on board, you may find you go there on a school trip one day. Take you 2 to 3 hours to visit all of the galleries inside. As the sign says there at the top, free and open to all. Now the newest bridge we pass underneath today, that's just ahead of us here, the Millennium Footbridge, also known as the Wibbly Wobbly Bridge. 2 hours after opening, this bridge was closed by the Metropolitan Police. They say it swayed from side to side in the wind. So I'll let you make your mind up if you want to walk across it. I'm sure you'll be okay. If you do walk across the bridge there, give them a wave as we go past. If you do walk across the bridge, on the right hand side of the boat, just next to the Tate Modern, you see a white round building with a thatched roof. That's Shakespeare's Globe Theatre. Now you can watch live entertainment in the Globe from April the 23rd, Shakespeare's birthday, until the end of October. It's one of the only buildings in London to have a thatched roof, as these became illegal after the Great Fire of London. Now when the Globe is open, pass underneath next to the Southwark Road Bridge, just before the road bridge here on the left hand side, you will see a building with 4 columns. That's Vintner's Place. In here, they have the worst job in the world. They try and test all of the alcohol before it goes in to our country shops. Imagine that, folks, getting paid 5 days a week to get absolutely hammered. Terrible job, we want to do. But that's just next to the Southwark Road Bridge here, a very quiet bridge. If you look up there, very quiet today, one of the least used bridges here on the Thames, simply because it's accessed by a one-way street. It's very hard to find via the land. So you mainly find your commercial drivers up here, your taxi drivers, your bus drivers, your industrial workers across the day. Take a look at the bottom of the bridge as we do pass through. Either side of the boat, you'll see chains hanging along the footings. Now these chains, they give you something to grab onto if you happen to fall in. Wouldn't recommend it, but that's what it is. Where Shakespeare's Globe Theatre used to stand on the right, now home to the newspaper, the Financial Times headquarters. It sits next to mine and the captain's favourite place over here on the right hand side. You see all of the lights on out the front, and that is the pub, or the Anchor at Bankside. There's been a pub here on the Thames since the year 1615. We say Shakespeare himself used to get trained to be captain before walking across the road. Me and the captain, we spend a lot of time there. If you're wondering what we do for our station, we'll show you just how the tide moves here on the Thames. It can move up to 6 miles per hour in speed, and it can rise up to nearly 8 meters in height. And currently here on the Thames, the tide is at its lowest. You can see the banks, the beaches either side of the boat, and the tide currently at its lowest. Soon it will come in from the sea. We'll be battling against the tide to make our way down there. To the right hand side of the boat, a nice photo opportunity there of one of the tallest buildings in Western Europe, 1,017 foot high, the Shard, or the Shard of Glass, designed by an Italian man called Renzo Piano. I have some Italians on board today. He was offered £1 million for his architectural designs. However, he said no. Instead, I'll have the penthouse suite at the very top. He later sold that penthouse suite for £30 million. So it could be a business there. But inside there are hotels, offices and restaurants and a pub. And we pass underneath next, one of the most famous bridges in the world. You'll see its name engraved into the stone on the left, London. This is the 5th bridge to have stood here, opened by Queen Elizabeth II in 1973. Other bridges have been taken down and they've burned down. You may have heard the nursery rhyme, London Bridge is falling down. The last bridge sold to an American man for $2 million, now standing in Lake Havasu, the Arizona. A previous London bridge taken down to stop the Great Fire of London from spreading from the north of the river on the right, the north of the river on the left, your left, north of the river on the left to the south of the river on the right. If you do look to the left now, you will see some of London's new builds. The cheese grater, the walkie-talkie, the gherkin. Don't ask me who come up with these names, because I've got no idea. But if you look to the top, the roof of the walkie-talkie building, you'll see lots of people up there. And there is a Sky Garden. Has anyone been to the Sky Garden? Oh, very nice indeed. What do you think, folks? Very nice up there. It's a bar and a restaurant. I'll give you a tip. The viewing platform up there, free of charge. You just go online and you book your tickets. The viewing platform at the Sky Garden, free of charge. Good tip. Now coming into view on the right hand side, you may not see her in all of her camouflage, but permanently moored here on her anchor chains, we have the HMS Belfast. She was launched in 90 hours fought in the Caribbean. Take a look at the front of the ship as we go past. You will see a Union Jack. Now this is of a British warship on a wooden jackstaff. If you look closer as we go past, it's on a wooden pole there at the front. That's a wooden jackstaff. If you see any others here in London, they're not on the front of a British warship. We call them the Union flag. There's 6 guns or turrets at the front, and there's 6 guns or turrets at the rear, capable of shooting a 100-pound shell up to 13 land mines. You can see them on board the Belfast there. You can climb all the way around the ship. All of the stairs, all of the ladders that you see, the doors open at the back. As you move between all of the rooms, the headset when you get on board, it tells you the history throughout. She's now an added extra to the Imperial War Museum. Now the next stop for this boat is on the left hand side. It is Tower Pier. We're friend the captain. He's in a good mood today. I'm not sure why, but he's in a good mood today. So what he's going to do, he's going to take us down closer towards the iconic Tower Bridge. He'll turn the boat in front of the bridge to get a nice photo opportunity on the right hand side. Now Tower Bridge, it is the most photographed bridge in the world. Opened in 1894. The bridge is 128 years old. The middle part of the bridge combines suspension and bascule. Bascule, a French verb for seesaw. So it gives you an idea of how the middle part of the bridge, and that lifts up into 2, allows big ships in and out of this stretch of the Thames. Now as the captain turns the boat around to the left, the money shot with Tower Bridge, if you can get a London red bus pictured in the middle of the bridge, that'll cost you £5 normally on a postcard. Today, it might be a lucky day if the captain hurries up, he'll turn the boat around in it today. Now if you committed a crime severe enough years ago, you'd be rowed down the river, you'd be taken into entry to the Traitors Gate there on the right hand side. You'd be taken up to the top of Tower Hill and beheaded. We now have more severe punishments here in the country, folks. It's called community service. By the Maritime Coast Guard Agency, the Port of London Authority, to carry up to 399 passengers. There are 26 of you on board currently. That means we are equipped with all of the latest and up-to-date life-saving equipment for each and every passenger in the form of life rings, life rafts, floats, life jackets, you name it, we carry. We are in constant communication with all of the emergency services around us. In a highly unlikely event of an emergency today, the best of luck to each and every person. I got a few people's attention. I'm only joking, folks. Just stay calm, follow the instructions given by a uniformed member. Now from Westminster down to the Tower, I was providing a live commentary as a member of crew. I'm more than happy to continue to do this on the way down to Greenwich. Anybody like a live commentary on the way down to Greenwich? A couple of people. Okay, well I'll try my best to point out as much as possible. The Millennium of London here on the left hand side, spinning around in circles by the looks of things. I'm not sure where they're up to. There's a little smoke coming out the back of that. You're in the nicest boat. And there's not as much to see really on the way down to Greenwich as what there is up in the city, you mainly just see old working warehouses, luxury Thameside apartments. So the first old working warehouse, that's just here on the right hand side, Butler's Wharf. A tea and spice warehouse many years ago. Now vessels like the Cutty Sark, which we'll see when we get down to Greenwich, and they would race up to this part of the Thames to get the best price for their goods. You will see the word spice, it is still engraved into the stonework there on the top right hand side of the apartment. You probably think we're pointing that up there, but you see the word spice is still engraved into the stonework there. Now we don't normally point out things behind us on the trip, but if you do turn around now you will get a nice photo opportunity there. To the right and the left. On the left, this is Hermitage Wharf. Costs you about £15,000 to £20,000 a year to keep your boat here on the Thames. Now the architect who designed the three green buildings over there on the left, designed them to look like three French soldiers marching to Weaver's Wharf. Inside these large barges or containers that you see, and they're filled with all of London's rubbish, filled with our waste. Now when the tide rises here in London, like it is now, boats will come alongside, they'll pick up one of these barges filled with London's rubbish, filled with our waste, and they'll take it out to a place called Essex. So we do with our waste and our rubbish here in London, folks. We ship it all out to a place called Essex. We then turn it into reality TV programs that we all love watching at the end of the day. I know you love them. But for every one of these barges that goes out to sea, stops around 15 to 20 lorries on our congested London roads. So a lot more economically friendly, a lot quicker transporting goods via the River Thames. You will see our base of operation coming into view on the right hand side here. This is Cherry Garden Pier, home to city cruises. This is where me and the captain, we come to work in the morning and where this boat sleeps at night. Now before it was owned by City Cruises, it was a signalling point for Tower Bridge. As the boats then come around the slight bend ahead of us, they would signal Cherry Garden Pier. We'll see the Metropolitan River Thames. They've been patrolling the banks of the Thames since the early 1800s. Mainly drinking lots of tea and coffee nowadays though, but still patrolling the banks of the Thames over here on the left, the River Police at Wapping. If you look behind the police pier here on the left, you will see a building, a small building called the Captain Kidd. A very nice pub here on the banks of the Thames. It only costs you about £3 for a pint of beer in the Captain Kidd. It's very cheap for London prices. Named after a pirate who was executed here on the banks of Wapping in 1701. If you committed a crime that's severe enough, they'd bring you down to the river's edge and they'd wait for 3 tides to rise and fall above your head. You would drown here on the banks of Wapping. It's known as the Grace of God. On the right hand side. You will see St Mary's Church here on the right coming into view. Buried in the grounds of the church, the Captain Sir Christopher Jones. Now, he was the captain of the pilgrim ship, the Mayflower. Now 400 years ago, the Mayflower is set sail from here and was said to be one of the first vessels to sail from Europe across to America. It's said to have founded the first Thanksgiving. Now you will see the Mayflower Pub coming up into view here on the right, the small white building you see there now. Look to the roof, you will see the replica of the pilgrim ship and you'll see the British and the American flag out the front due to its history. Now the pub itself, very unique. It holds 3 licenses. Most pubs they only hold 1, an alcohol license, but this holds 3. Holds an alcohol license. It's a licensed pawnbroker. They also sell British and American stamps behind the bar. You will see some of London's hidden secrets also here on the right. Here in London we've got some of the finest beaches in the world. You want to play around in broken glass, rusty nails, old boats, whatever else is over there on that beach, and then filled with houses. You'll see New Crane Wharf, you'll see Metropolitan Wharf. Now Wharf, actually an acronym, stands for Warehouse at River Front. And years ago they would offload goods to and from these warehouses. You'll see the cranes, they still remain on the front. And that's the Prospect of Whitby, the oldest pub here on the tidal Thames, opened in the year 1520. So So over 500 years ago now. It's got the nickname the Devil's Tavern. They say criminals and thieves they used to drink in there on a regular daily basis. Still the same today, folks. Criminals, they still do drink in there on a regular daily basis. A little bit different now. Now they come in the form of estate agents, politicians, bankers, the list goes on. I better not get myself in too much trouble. But if you look behind the Prospect of Whitby on the left, behind these brown buildings in the distance, you will see a building with a blue roof, a red helicopter on top. That is the Royal London Hospital. I was born there itself. That's not the reason I'm telling you about it, folks. That's the area of Whitechapel over there on the left hand side. Now Whitechapel, mainly known for the notorious Jack the Ripper murders. You will see the Royal London Hospital just as this brown building moves out of the way. Look to the left, you'll see the helicopter on the top. There in the distance, the Royal London Hospital. Now if you're born in any of the surrounding areas, this is the East End of London over on the left. If you're born in any of the surrounding areas, Mile End, Stepney Green, Bow, you're known as a Cockney here in the East End of London. If you're born between the sounds of the Bow Bells, you're known as a Cockney here in the East End of London. This is the last construction site you'll see on our trip today. That's part of the Tideway Tunnel development project, which we saw for those of you who are on board back at Blackfriars. The sewer system, it goes right up from Chelsea all the way down to here. It cuts off inland to a place called Beckton. You get a nice view there as well of the Royal London Hospital. Just next to the construction site here, you see an orange brick building on the left. It looks like a 5-year-old has put it together with a Lego set. It's not. It's designed by the architect to give every property a river facing view. It's known as free trade walk. The boats would get here first years ago, they would get free trade for their goods out here. A closer look at an old working warehouse. That's just here on the right hand side. This is Globe Wharf. You'll see the crane. It still remains on the front of the old working warehouse today. And now luxury Thameside apartments, very expensive apartments overlooking the banks of the Thames. But they say Globe Wharf was infested with rats many years ago. But now luxury Thameside apartments. The most expensive apartment here on the banks of the Thames, that's actually on the left hand side of the boat. And you'll see all of the trees coming up here in the private garden. And that's owned by the building to the left of that with the brown balconies. They're said to be valued at 60 to 70 million pounds. Now to have a private garden here on the banks of the Thames, very exclusive in itself. This is the area of Limehouse here on the left hand side. You will see the entrance also on the left to the Limehouse Marina coming up into view. Now look to the left of the Limehouse Marina. You'll see all of the small lights on out the front there, the red brick building. And that's a nice restaurant called The Narrow, owned by the foul-mouthed chef. Now if you make your way inside the Limehouse Marina, and you make your way up the Regent's Canal, and you get to the Grand Union Canal. Has anybody been to Camden Lock? That's up there in the canal system. It'll take you 2 to 3 weeks to navigate through all of the lock systems here on the left. You come to some of the nicer places here in the country. Birmingham, Manchester, Liverpool, some of the nicer places here in the country. Now currently here in London, as mentioned earlier, for those who are with us, the tide is coming in. The captain, he's battling against the incoming tide to make our way down towards our next stop, Greenwich Pier. It means the water is pushing against the front of the boat, but we battle against the incoming tide. And the tide, it will rise here in London for 5 hours. We have what we call an incoming, a flood tide. The tide, Thameside apartments, office blocks. There's over 250 bars and restaurants, things to do actually over here at Canary Wharf across the world. Now it's the second largest financial district here in the city, and the main one that's actually behind us. So full of financial workers over here. Now the weekend, a day like today is a nice day to go and visit one of the financial workers and bankers. They've gone home for the weekend. If you do look to the left as we make our way around the bend here, you may, in between the buildings, be able to see the Millennium Dome or the O2 Arena. Quite difficult to see now though, due to all the high-rise properties. But that would show you just how the river twists and turns, the bends in the River Thames. Now if you continue straight on the river as we are now, and you made your way around all of the twists and turns here on the Thames, in the Millennium Dome, the O2 Arena, it would be on the right-hand side of the river. You'd now see Greenwich is not far ahead of us, it's literally just around the bend here in front of us. To the left-hand side of the boat here, luxury, unaffordable housing, and to the right, pretty much the same. There's not much to talk about at this little stretch of the Thames. And many of you have been listening to me for the past hour and a half, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to just put the microphone down for a few moments. When Greenwich is in view, which is just ahead of us around the bend now, pick up the microphone again, tell you a little bit more about what Greenwich has to offer. If you like to smoke, you can do so upstairs, on the open top deck. So in the meantime, just sit back, relax, and enjoy the cruise.
Can I have a video for a second? View todo કેટલો મસ્ત આવે.
ઓલી પાછળની સાઈડની બિલ્ડિંગ તો લ્યો થોડીક.
એને ક્યાં ઇધર જ આવે આ નીચે. સમજો પાછળ બધે.
ઓલી બિલ્ડિંગ જો શું હા હા બે અર્ધ વચ્ચે ખુલ્લું છે. ઓ સાઈડમાં થોડું આવ આગળ. હોટલ છે જો. શું ના સાઈડે પર હોટલ છે. આવું છે.
If you'd like to see the Thames barrier, the most exhilarating way to do it is in a jet. The Thamesjet tour takes you from Westminster Pier to the Thames barrier and back in a high-speed military-grade jet boat. It's a speed demon's dream come true.
Here on the River Thames. Now when the tide is at its lowest, currently the tide nearly about an hour ago is at its lowest, but you've still got around 40 to 50 foot of water underneath the boat here. And when the cruise ships they come up into London, and this is where they tie up. Just ahead of the boat here, you will see there's 6 yellow mooring buoys. Now that's the Greenwich ships tier, and they tie up here to go and visit places like Greenwich. And now Greenwich is only one of 7 royal boroughs here in London. Now everything I'm about to point out is as we approach Greenwich on the right hand side of the boat. May be difficult to see sitting on the left hand side. So if you do want to move across to the right as we get closer, it's entirely up to you. Earlier today, when me and my friend the captain, we were getting the boat ready, and we did see a seal pop up next to the boat at Cherry Lime on Pier. So there's a lot of wildlife out here on the Thames. Now, if you do look ahead of the boat, you will see to the right there, or ahead of us, to the right slightly, you will see the 3 tall-masted ship of the Cutty Sark. Now, the Cutty Sark, the fastest tea clipper of its day. It would race around the world. It would come up to places like Butler's Wharf, delivering offloading goods. Now, we've been cruising on the way down to Greenwich at 6 miles per hour in speed. The Cutty Sark, it would cruise at 20 miles per hour. So it's about 3 times the speed that we are currently doing. Now permanently moored here as a museum of the use of languages. Now, if you look to the right of the Cutty Sark, just above the brown buildings there, at the top of the hill, you'll see a bull and a T-bar. Can you see that? Just to the right of the Cutty Sark, above the brown buildings, a bull and a T-bar. That is Flagston House. Now, at 5 to 1 every day, that bull, it will rise to the top. And at 1 o'clock, it will drop. And this is where 1 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time comes from. The sailors will set their clocks and instruments before heading out to sea. And that's also where the Royal Observatory is, where the Meridian Line is based. And the Meridian Line, and that is 0 degrees longitude on the map. It's what separates the east centre of the universe. I can see you're all terribly excited by that. Some of the youngsters on board, that's gone completely over your head what I've just said. Now, you are at basically the centre of the universe, to keep it simple, here at Greenwich. You can have 1 foot in the east, 1 foot in the west. Just below the Cutty Sark, the glass dome structure you see, that's the entrance to the Greenwich Foot Tunnel. It's free of charge. You walk underneath the boat here. You pop out on the left-hand side, just behind the trees here on the island docks. There is a nice park where you get some photos of Greenwich, or you could head over to Canary Wharf via the foot tunnel there. It's entirely up to you. Personally, I'd stay over here on the right-hand side. There's not much to see on there. Ahead of the boat, slightly to the right, you've got the cream buildings in front of us, and that's the old naval colleges where the Navy, and they were nursed and trained for over 300 years. That's now moved down to Portsmouth and Plymouth. That's now home to Greenwich University and a performing arts school. I'm not sure what the name of the performing arts school is, but there's a performing arts school there, and that's also where the Antiques Museum is based. And there's lots, as you can see from the right here, bars for an hour. We leave Greenwich Pier at 10 past 2. This boat, it leaves Greenwich Pier at 10 past 2 in half an hour's time. And so if you are coming back up into the city with us, you're more than welcome to do so. But you can step off, have a little look around the Cutty Sark, even if it's just at the top there, and then step back on the boat after. We won't leave the pier here. Entirely up to you if you want to chuck anything in there, but hopefully the commentary is added to the experience. So thank you very much for listening, and have a nice time here.
We see yourselves as the centre of the world. Don't blame us, blame the Astronomer Royal. Greenwich today feels like an old English village in the middle of a city, with quaint shops lining the winding streets. Of course, many of those shops
Nice day like today, a little bit chilly today, but it's a nice day here in London. And there's bars, restaurants, live entertainment to see on the south bank of the Thames. The red brick building you see on the left, that's the guard the needle throughout the year. They should be facing out, but Queen Victoria, she liked them facing in. The left one, heavily damaged during the First World War. Now many of the building Parliament and Big Ben. Big Ben, that's a nickname for the 13.5 for travelling with us today. Hopefully you've enjoyed the trip, the time spent with us. If any onward travel, you can pick up the London Big Bus service just up on the main road and the London Underground at this stop. For more travel information, please do speak to a member of staff. Thank you very much for listening. Have a nice day here in London.
एक मिनट, अभी आप कहाँ जा रहे हैं? अभी इस वीडियो को लाइक करना है, अपने दोस्तों से शेयर करना है, और अगर अभी भी आपने हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है तो अभी कर दीजिए, ताकि मैं आपके साथ इंग्लैंड की अच्छी अच्छी जगह दिखा सकूं। थैंक यू।